three important matters. A raging controversy over legal vacation and whether there is suggested bias in relation to the operations of vacation courts, right? And so one of the major subjects for conversation. Then the minority is demanding investigations into the dealings of Gold Board. We're asking if that is justified. And then I'll pick quick thoughts as well in relation to the president's shake-up of the National Security Council as well. My guest in studio, Ebo Bachman, is Deputy National Communications Officer or Director of the United Party. Is a regular with us here on the Wednesdays. Godfred Nana Boachi is a member of the NPP's National Communications team. We're expecting Mark Ewusiako as a convener of Election Watch Ghana to join us. And Eric Dela Alifo is a member of the NDC's National Communications team as well, expected to join us. But Godfred Nana Boachi and Ebo Bachman are both in studio. Gentlemen, good morning to you. I trust at all as well.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Peaceful night, peaceful rest.
Yeah, I didn't rest. I had a very short night. I slept after 1.
Oh,
yeah.
We're in the same pot, eh?
Yeah, so I still owe some debt I need to clear. so today I will sleep early.
You sleep
just
early?
To make up for the...
But I'm hearing today it's a game between either PSG and Aston Villa. I think the UEFA Super Cup or something. Yes. So that will be of interest to a lot of the guys. I don't think
I really don't have interest there. So I only watch football matches that I have interest. If it's Barcelona match,
I knew you were going to go there because I know you're a very big Barca fan, and you want to follow up with them as well, right? While we wait for the rest of the guys, I think we can begin the conversation. Legal vacation brouhaha, and whether or not there is any room in terms of a support as to claims that there's some bias in relation to a number of the courts sitting. Whilst we are at that, a private individual, Elom Kwame Goni, has gone to court. And if you're a law student, you know Elom Kwame Goni because he took matter of chieftaincy and politics to the Supreme Court, and the court made determinations as to the fact that chiefs are not to participate in politics in the country, amongst other things. He's challenging the continuous I don't want to call it celebration, but the observance of legal vacation in the wake of this recent debate as to whether courts should be sitting and all of that. As well, the NPP has been writing through their General Secretary and suggesting that there is some bias, right, which is suggestive of bias, the fact that a number of these courts are sitting and wanting to hear substantive matters, amongst other things. And that's why I'll start with you, Godfred, as to what the argument really is. Is it a case that it's unusual, or you're just crying wolf because you should cry wolf?
Okay, a very good morning to you, Eric, and to my senior brother here, and to everyone listening to us, your cherished listeners, and to the rank and file of the New Patriotic Party, especially Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, the next president of the Republic of Ghana. So, like you rightly said, legal vacation and the brouhaha around it. And it is worth noting that it's not like the minority is on some sort of always challenging, no. And this morning, I'm going to try as much as possible to set the record straight so that the Ghanaians listening to us would know where we stand and why we believe they should all join us in fighting what is happening today in Ghana. So, Eric, the position of the law is clear. I mean, when you look at the High Court Civil Procedure, the CI 47, the Rules 2004, it is clear that after the second term, which is the longest term in the legal calendar, judges of the Superior Court, which is the High Court, the Supreme Court, goes on this legal vacation spanning, I think, 1st August to 30th September or so. And Eric, the concession is that, yes, we are not saying that this means that a complete shutdown of justice. You get it? That is why even necessarily we have vacation judges in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where the problem is, and this is why we all are, coming out to strongly speak against what is happening today. Eric, the major problem is when you have the Chief Justice issuing specific warrant to continue Edubuahin's case.
Did the Chief Justice warrant say that?
Yes, you can check out the warrant. And this was even reported by so many other, credible media stations and firms, as to when the Chief Justice issues a warrant to the judge there to, continue a specific case in the Edubuahin case, then, Eric, it raises a lot of questions.
Okay, so here's where I'm going to come in.
Okay.
I interject when there are matters of concern. So I'm seeing a copy of the warrant.
Okay.
Right, to one of the judges. It says, warrant to sit during the 2026 legal vacation.
Mm-hmm.
By virtues of the powers conferred upon me, I hereby authorize you to sit as an additional High Court judge at the Specialized Court 2 Law Court Complex during the 2026 legal vacation and conduct hearings. By copy of this letter, the Deputy Judicial Secretary or Court Manager, Law Court Complex Accra, is accordingly notified. Please accept my compliments. That's a copy of the letter which is sent. It's the same thing that is sent to every judge.
Yes.
Where in that letter does it say that?
So what I'm saying is that that judge, he's the one. I've forgotten the name. I think I should have written
Achibonga.
Yes, he is the one sitting on the Edubuahin case.
Yes.
You see, these are issues of questions, Eric. I hope you get it. So. And I believe that we need to be fair enough that we cannot say that a Chief Justice does not know that is a judge sitting on the Edubuahin case. He knows this. So you see, when you nominate a vacation judge, first of all, you have the Chief Justice issuing that warrant, like you rightly read, and thank you so much for reading it, to continue the trial of the Edubuahin case. Then that raises a lot of questions. Questions like, okay, so what is the interest of the Chief Justice in the Edubuahin case? Because, Eric, you know something? These are cases or these are trials that are involving high-profile members of, let me say, the opposition No Patriotic Party. In as much as it is not a law that trials shouldn't go on. But you see, Eric, I am not a student of law, but even when you go to parliament and other places, there are things like conventions. And conventionally, during legal vacations, the High Court and other superior courts sit on interlocutory cases. You get it? So it is not law. It is not law that they should
sit on just interlocutory cases, or they also sit on substantive.
That is what I'm saying. By convention, ordinarily, that is what they sit on. So you hardly have them sitting on some of these trial cases. But Eric, this is where it gets interesting. When you have trial cases involving Edubuahin, when you have trial cases involving Chairman Wuntumi, when you have trial cases involving Hanan, and you have all these cases within this legal vacation period, Eric, I hope you are following the conversation, then the minority in every sense has the right to raise some of these questions. Because you know something, in the unlikely event that even Edubuahin is prosecuted, the conviction is secured, you know the questions he raises across board nationally, even on the international community, because especially when you have a Chief Justice issuing such a warrant at such a time like this. And you see, we are not just speaking out of a vacuum. If you look at the conduct and the mannerisms of this government, ever since they took the reins of power, when they started freeing their top government officials, cutting plea deals with their top government officials, even before Wuntumi, the ruling in the Wuntumi case, you had top NDC officials on Facebook and other platforms saying things like he'll be prosecuted, he will be jailed. You see, when you say some of these things, then it creates the notion that, do we really have that sort of judicial independence, or there is some sort of executive influence over the judiciary? And I believe that, for the sanctity of the judiciary, because you see, our society is highly polarized. So when you look, the executive,
is that not the polarization you speak to? Is that not what you're taking into the judiciary? Because the curious question is this: that 26 judges, right? 26.
Yes.
have been written to and asked to sit as vacation court judges.
Yes.
It is trite knowledge that they do not sit only on interlocutory matters.
Yes, that
they
is why I
sit
said
on substantive matters as well.
Yes.
So if the Supreme Court or the Chief Justice writes to justices, it's not every justice who is sitting on an oral case who's been issued a warrant to work during the legal vacation.
Yes.
So where from the perception that there's a special interest, it's just, does it not so happen that warrants were issued and these judges were asked to sit during the vacation, and they by themselves have decided that they will hear their own substantive matter, because that discretion, it's not a discretion that goes to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice doesn't determine by what date you adjourn a case to.
Yes, but you see, Eric, like I was saying, the Chief Justice, yes, does not give that discretion as to the date you adjourn a case to. That is true. But what we are saying is that we shouldn't also pretend that a Chief Justice does not know that some of these justices who received these warrants are actually sitting on high-profile cases involving top MPP officials. We shouldn't also discount that.
But the law
let me finish. But then secondly,
I'm just saying that the law does not know partisanship.
Good. You see,
the law is the law.
You see, this is where it gets interesting. That is why I was trying to establish a point that the mannerisms and conduct of this government, ever since they took the reins of power, and let me clarify that. You see, in the Estiwa government, we had a digitalized system that was doing the assignment of judges to some of these cases in the Superior Court. Eric, when this Chief Justice took over, we all saw that letter from the Office of the Chief Justice, which said that these cases must be referred to the Chief Justice. So as we speak today in Ghana, it is the Chief Justice who assigns these cases.
That was done under the previous Chief Justice as well, where she was assigning specific cases. But so how different is it? Because it's something, and the point I'm seeking to make, I'm not seeking to equalize. The point I'm seeking to make is that they have that legal backing to assign cases.
Exactly.
They not. And it was done under the previous administration, where then Chief Justice Gertrude Isaba Tokono, even though there was a system which allocated cases to justices, also allocated cases to certain justices as and when she deemed it fit. Why was it not wrong then, but it's suddenly wrong now? It's a curious question that must be asked.
Good. In the previous government, we had a system running. We have the Chief Justice also assigning cases. But what we have today is the Chief Justice assigning these judges specifically. So what it means is that the system which ran on its own algorithms in the Estiwa government is not even running today. And that is where it gets more curious and it gets more interesting. And that is where the suspicions and the questions come in. I hope you get it. Because we also saw the letter from the Chief Justice when he took over the office, and we saw that letter he issued talking about he doing this assignment. But then secondly, Eric, you also look at the conduct of the judge in this specific case when he says that I've adjourned the case to 17th August, and not just that, he says, I'm giving you 6 days. Get a new representation or a new legal representation to oversee your case. You see, Eric, this is very problematic, okay? Because in as much as we agree that your right to personal counsel does not mean a right to a specific lawyer, even as much as we agree to that, we believe that in the stipulated time period, and also for the judge threatening to say that, well, if you are not able to meet this, I'm going to discharge the prosecution witness and permanently close the evidence, is something that, I mean, we find very problematic as far as the our judiciary is concerned. Because you know why? Even if you want to give him that room to get that legal representation, at least, even in the event he decides to bring a new lawyer, the new lawyer is also by law allowed to have that ample time to study evidence and to study the case, to acquaint himself. So when you adjourn the case to 17th August, you give that 6 days ultimatum, and he says, if you're not able to meet this, I'm going to throw out the prosecution's witness and close the evidence. Then all these things are about the questions they are raising. You see, this morning, I don't want us to look at this conversation strictly from the point that, oh, it is the NDC in government, so whatever the Chief Justice says, whatever the judges say, well, we go with it, or it is the MPP in government. No, that is not about the equalization. For example, even if you give examples about Gertrude Tokono, you sat in this country and labeled this woman or sonomame. So if today, no, I'm not. Sorry, I'm not being specific. I mean, this is a general statement. We all heard them say these things. Unanimous FC, or Sonomami, etc. So if under even a so-called reset, you even propagate these things and do them worse, then what kind of country are we building?
Right.
So I believe that first off, the warrants from the Chief Justice in this specific case raise a lot of questions, because in the unlikely event that conviction is secured,
so
what are the questions that those things pose?
I'll come to a both shortly, but I just want to ask one more question in relation to this.
All right.
When you say the warrant raises a challenge, are you referring to the fact that a warrant has been issued for judges to sit during the vacation, or you have an issue only with the fact that certain judges which are hearing oral related cases are being asked to sit during the vacation? Is that the problem? Or you have a problem with the fact that 26 judges have been asked to sit during this legal vacation?
You see, it is not even about the number of judges. That is why I said that let's not pretend that a Chief Justice is not aware that these cases involving these high-profile individuals are actually part of these 26 judges. I don't care about the number.
They are justices of the High Court, and they are the disposal of the Chief Justice. I use disposal advisedly to appoint and decide that sit at this date when there's a vacation, and after the vacation you go on.
I get your points perfectly, but you see, in the event where even beyond just the legal representative of this individual, you have the Ghana Bar Association writing to the Chief Justice, raising some of these concerns. Then you ask yourself the most logical question: so what at all will happen if the Dubuahi case continues in October? What at all will happen if the Hanan case continues in October? What at all will happen if the Wuntumi case continues in October? You see, these are the questions we are asking, and this is the Ghana Bar Association raising some of these legitimate concerns.
Right.
So this goes beyond the NPP, and that is why I'm saying it's not about the number of judges. It's about the fact that we know that these are specific, high-profile
I'll come back
cases.
to you on another potential happening in relation to the arguments the NPP is pushing, but the Attorney General, that's the Deputy Attorney General, wrote in relation to this matter, right? And it's a position I want to share even as we both educate and even continue to have the conversation, that the law on legal vacations doesn't mean the court shut down.
Yes.
As you see from Rule 4, the legal vacation, that's CI 47, Order 79, Rule 4. That the legal vacation is by Rule 1.1 subject to the CJ's decision to give warrants to a judge to work during the vacation. Now, those seeking to rely on an alleged convention, there are two things we know about what constitutes a convention. The existence of a convention is a question of fact which must be established by evidence of two things: A, concerned practice, and B, opinion juris. That is, the uniform opinion that the practice is binding as law rather than a preference or convenience. The practice as we know it doesn't support the existence of such an alleged convention. CJs have consistently throughout the ages given vacation warrants to judges who have conducted trials. An alleged convention cannot operate to override an express provision of law. The express provision of law on the matter is Order 79 of CI 47. No law or practice gives a lawyer or our associations the power to determine whether court proceedings should go on. It's a position that the Deputy Attorney General shares. Ebo, I'll bring you in on this matter on legal vacation. Where do you stand on this? Even as we are seeing a challenge even at the Supreme Court that the legal vacation in itself renders the administration of justice, it challenges it for a specific period when the vacation is on, and so it must be something which must be moved out of our books.
Eric, there's something, let me greet you, say good morning to you, my colleagues here and our listeners. There's something I've been saying, that it's about time we dealt with MPP as a problem, not just as a political party.
Why are you starting on that front?
I've been saying this consistently, and I think Every now and
They'll
then,
say these are sore grips.
I'm being vindicated.
These are sore grips from the fact that you may have left the party.
No, I'm
so
telling you,
and
you see, anytime I start, I tell you, when I finish, you understand the point I'm making. Now, the gentleman who just spoke, the MPP man, Boache, Nana Boache, he says the Chief Justice knew that those judges were handling high-profile cases. So those judges should not handle. If you are MPP person, your case should not be, handled by the court during the vacation. But if you are an ordinary Ghanaian, your case can be handled. Is that what you are saying? You see, they see themselves to be some special people. As for ordinary Ghanaians who are going through the same legal process during the vacation, it's all well and good. But if you're an MPP person, no, you deserve special treatment from the court. That is the position of the MP. That's what I'm saying. They are becoming a serious problem that we need to deal with as a nation. Because what are we talking about? We are talking about something that has been done by previous Chief Justices. Madam Tokonu did it in 2023. I think 1st August or so. About 12 courts were running during vacation. And so why should it be a problem? What is Atachia's problem? If indeed you have a good case, will it not be in the interest of your client that the case is tried speedily so that your client goes home and or have his peace of mind? Is it the case that the more the case stays in court, the more he makes money out of it? Is it the strategy he's using against his client? Because I really don't get it. And yesterday he was interviewed. He said he was not tired. He said, yes, I'm not tired. I'm really in my office working. I'm not tired. So it means he's intentionally doing that. And for what reason, only God knows, and he himself knows why he's doing what he's doing. Because, let me tell you, the MPP, they keep saying that when you came, you freed some of your people, you entered nolle prosequi and allowed some of your people to leave. You had 8 good years to prosecute people. If indeed you had good evidence, strong evidence against them, it shouldn't take you 8 years to prosecute people successfully. But after 8 years, you couldn't secure conviction, even one conviction, for all the people that you were prosecuting. If indeed those lawyers were using delay tactics, what we are saying is that this time we don't want delay tactics again. We want our court to expedite action on cases so that we clear cases up. I mean, look at the number of cases you have in court and the corruption cases. If it involves politicians, the case can run 8 years, 6 years, 7 years. It doesn't make sense. Yes, they are high-profile cases because the money involved are not small amount of money, and therefore we need to speedily act on these cases quickly and let if indeed you have a very strong case for your client, it should be in your interest that your client's case is dealt with speedily. And so I don't really get it, the point, because yes, I listen to him as if now lawyers want to determine when court should sit. Instead of allowing the court to determine, the Chief Justice to determine, now Atachia wants to tell Ghanaians that he has the power to determine when court should sit. I mean, we can't run this country like this. On the one hand, people who say, Ora is dying. On the other hand, you said, why are you fast-tracking cases? This guy had the same problem. The previous lawyer, Apia Kubi, also had the same problem in the lawyer that handled Untumi case that resulted in Untumi being, imprisoned. He said the judge was moving so fast. Why must the judge be moving so fast? You see, if you don't move fast, you can't fight corruption. We can't be handling corruption cases 8 years, 7 years, 9 years in court and be successful in our fight against corruption. We need to expedite action within 6 months, within 1 year. You move as a nation. That's how it's supposed to be. And so if politicians want to use delay tactics just to buy time, do you know what the implication of what Atachia is doing? What he's doing, if it is granted that the case, his case will not be handled, when the judge, after 2 months, the judge will also go on vacation. It means for the next 4 months, the case will not be handled. So the case will be handled in January.
The judge is on vacation now.
Let me make the argument again. Now, he says he's not going to go to court. But the judge is still working during the vacation. So his case, he said, my case, all the other cases there, the judge can sit on those cases. But me, Atacha, and my client, our case, because we are special human beings, don't touch our case. Now, what it means is that when, after the vacation, those who did not go on vacation will now have their vacation, which will take another 2 months. It means for 4 months, this judge will not sit on Atacha's case until January. That's what he's trying to do. That is why I want to urge the court to still go on with the case. We don't have to allow people to be manipulating the court system, to be using delay tactics to as it were, to push cases to so many years. And it is not helping in our cause, in our fight against corruption. And it is something that should not be countenanced by Ghanaians. And I'm saying that the judge, I salute the judge. If the judge says, if you don't come, I will let Edu Boyen do the cross-examination. Yep. I salute the judge for that. That is how we're supposed to do. We have to detect the judge who sits on behalf of Ghanaians should be the one to be detecting the pace, not the one who is being accused. That he will be the one to be detecting the pace. So yes, I don't really get attached to the whole thing. If he really want to make more money from his client, he should tell us that the more the case delays in court, the more he makes. That's some of the lawyers. That's what they do. They intentionally make sure that the case runs in court for years so that they feed on your case. If that's what Atacha wants to do, he should stop. The man has already suffered. If he has a good case, he should quickly do it so that the man will go and rest in his house. Every day going to court or every other day going to court is not something that is palatable. You remember what happened to Yachikwesi? He was going to court every day and the MPP, Madam Tokono. Every day he was going to court. Today, these people are complaining. That's what I really don't get it. That's what I'm saying. It's gradually becoming a major problem for us to solve instead of them dealing with them as a political party. So that's the court rule. We need to get our money. People must go to jail if they've done something wrong against the state. If they have not done anything wrong against the state, they should go home and rest.
Right. Kay, you have a quick intervention before I return to Godfrey.
My intervention first is you know the story about the pampered child, you know, who always has his way when mommy is around. Mm-hmm. And when mommy is not around anymore and there's a disciplinarian of an auntie at the helm of affairs, mm-hmm. Wants to complain about everything. That is how the MPP is behaving in this matter. I mean, some of us have been the fiercest critics of the Attorney General and Oral, asking Oral to be up to speed, advocating that justice delayed is justice denied. And now we have the acceleration we have been expecting. Now we have the utmost commitment of our Attorney General and his deputy doing what they ought to do. And now we have a judiciary that sees through the hearts of the people and are requesting that justice should be expedited. And we seem to have a problem with that. And, my concern has majorly been, is it lawful or unlawful?
Right.
Because that answer determines whether or not this conversation is even relevant. This conversation is not important at all. Because what does the law say? Sometimes, you see, when we give too much room for certain things to gain momentum, see, they become news, they become important, they become relevant. Yeah. What is the position of the law? Why I came in studio is it is part of our work here to fact check.
Absolutely.
And there were certain assertions that were made prior to me coming in. And that's what I wanted to speak to. There are 12 bullet points here that have been fact checked. One is legal vacation is not a court showdown. The Order 79 Rule 4 of CI 47 establishes the August 1st to September 30th vacation, but expressly makes it subject to Rule 1.1. The hard question we have to ask is, why are we discussing legal vacation as though the rules require every courtroom to close? Vacation is not judicial hibernation, and we must appreciate that. The second thing is that the CJ has express authority. Rule 1.1 says the CJ may appoint any day, including vacations, for hearing causes or matters of circumstances as circumstances require. The hard question here is, what provision of law says that power disappears merely because a matter is a trial?
Right.
Before we debate convention, we must read the rule. Now, the GBA has raised a legitimate concern. The GBA says vacation courts traditionally handle emergencies and interlocutory matters, not trials, and counsel should not ordinarily be compelled to appear. Is the GBA describing an enforceable legal rule or defending a long-standing professional practice? Because a respected tradition is not automatically a legal prohibition. Mm-hmm. We need to appreciate these things. There's also the convention must be established. Saying this has always been the practice is not enough. The GBA saying this has always been the practice is not enough. Right. The existence, consistency, and normative force of the alleged convention require evidence. Where is the comprehensive record showing the substantive trials have never proceeded during vacation?
Okay, I'm going to stop you there and come to Godfred, because I have as well with me a warrant, not a warrant, right, but evidence of trials which were taking place during the legal vacation.
There were 14 courts that sat.
The Chief Justice then, Gertrude Tokonu, gave a warrant to Justice Ifeasewa Asare-Botwe, specifically to continue hearing the Atoforson ambulance trial. In fact, there's a court document which is signed by Ifeasewa Asare-Botwe, Justice of the Court of Appeal, who was sitting as an additional High Court judge, that although a warrant has been obtained for the case to be continued during the vacation on August 1 and 2, Mr. Sori indicates that he will need altogether 12 hours to conclude his cross-examination in view of the additional documents just filed by the prosecution. In the circumstances, we shall continue on August 1st and 2nd, 2023 at 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. each day, and then the 13th and 20th of October 2023, case completion plan prepared. This was under the NPP. Okay. This was under the previous Chief Justice, where the legal vacation, which was in August, at least in some days, full trials were to be heard, or substantive cases were to be heard. The quality grain assurance case as well, there were some matters which were heard at the time in relation. So the question then returns to the fact that, is the NPP not being excessively political with this, where the evidence doesn't support the argument you're making?
Okay, so Eric, you see the problem even with that is that you then ask yourself, so now is it about equalizations? Because, beyond that, if the NDC believed enough that Justice Gertrude Tokonu was without blame and blemish, I don't think she would have been out now, right? So the point is that this same,
the argument is that
these same issues you are raising.
We need to fact check. We need to fact check what he said. It is not the NDC that got the Chief Justice out of office. It is their actions, and as enshrined by the Constitution. Are you better than the law? No, because you see, sometimes we must be measured.
You see, sometimes
we must be measured when we must be measured when we make some of these statements, because there are people who are also learning when they listen to us. So we must be guided by fact and truth. And that is what Media General stands for.
Absolutely.
Media General stands for ensuring that the truth and the truth alone receives
We were in this
that
country.
hearing.
We were in this
Fair
country.
enough.
We were in this
So
country.
I want you to make the point.
No,
he will have to correct the point. He will have to correct the point because it is improper and it is wrong and incorrect for you to say no.
To suggest that the NDC got
the
her out of
NDC
office.
got the Chief Justice out of office. Do you have proof to that?
Eric.
It was a
When you
private
allege,
individual.
you must prove.
Daniel Ofori was a private. Was a private.
When you say
individual.
something and you can prove it, that's fine. If you can substantiate what you said right now,
So I'll allow him to make the point
the
and
point
see
is that-
what point you're
the
making and
point
you're
is
seeking
that
to substantiate.
When you call the Chief Justice, Osono Mami in opposition.
there's no
When you
Osnomami
call-
in the law.
Please. No,
We don't have Osnomami in the law. We are talking about the law.
People are listening to us.
Yes, people are listening to us, and I'm sure those who are learning are listening and may be misinformed. So it's important that the premise of it's important,
Eric,
Mawina, that the premise of his conversation is grounded on fact and law. We are talking about the Chief Justice. This is the third arm of government. We are talking about the judiciary. We should not allow the judiciary to be undermined, neither under NDC nor the MPP. The judiciary must always remain independent. So if you sit on a radio station and you make allegations against the judiciary or a Chief Justice or a political party and you cannot substantiate it, that is carelessness.
Eric, back to my point. When you have the opposition,
Right.
calling the Chief Justice Osono Mame, when you have the then opposition calling the Supreme Court unanimous FC, then you didn't know they were politicizing the judiciary. Then you didn't know they were denting the image of the judiciary. It is today you know. No, I'm coming. Let me make
I want you to proceed and then I'll come in.
When you have the opposition, when you have the ruling government, when they were in opposition, telling you that we are going to reset the judiciary, and when they come into office, the first thing they do is to lay down procedures. We are not ready to go into those.
But you see, when you say, for clarity purposes, I want him to understand that I'm not a member of the NDC.
No one is saying you're a member of the NDC.
No,
you're saying that when the NDC did it was okay.
So why didn't you challenge it?
Are you asking me when do you control my calendar? Are you the one who tells me?
That's what
No, wait. Have you followed?
Eric, let me
mute both microphones. Let me mute the microphones. No, wait. The microphones are muted. Okay. No, you're not a member of the NDC. That won't be a suggestion, right?
It makes us NDC or MPP.
No.
We are non-partisan. And when we sit here in the capacity of what we do judicially. So he should not misconstrue my concerns, my legitimate concerns.
Which is fair. And I made you make.
And I'm making this emphatic.
No, I said the microphone is off, so relax.
I should have spoken to matters then. So what?
No,
right
the microphone is off, so you are not. So let me.
Have you followed my advocacy? Yes, because
wait. Okay. Let me go for this break. Let me go for this break. When I return, we'll get into a bit more in terms of a conversation.
on 3FM Sunrise.
Back here in the studio, 9:19. Godfred, I'm going to come to you, make the point, and then I can traverse, and then we'll go on to other topics.
So, easy. Back to the Chief Justice issue. The point I was trying to make was that
3FM,
when you have the opposition then
92.7
saying things like the Chief Justice is an osonomame, when you have the opposition then calling the Supreme Court the mother of all courts, unanimous FC, when you have the opposition then saying things like we are going to reset the judiciary, and then they come into power and then the Chief Justice is removed. We don't want to go into that conversation.
The reason I'm going to, you see, the reason, and I was going to come in anyways. The reason I'm going to come in is that,
okay,
who is the individual who brought in the petition which led to the removal of the Chief Justice? You see, there are specific questions in relation to that.
Okay.
That's why it's an area I don't want us to get into, because in terms of the architecture as to the processes in removing a Chief Justice, you and I both know that the president is just a conveyor belt. When he received the petition, he actually is supposed to refer to the Council of State for them to make a determination. When they make a determination, he doesn't. At best, all he'll do is he'll set up a committee which is supposed to look into the matter. So we can't.
Eric, if you are really getting my point, okay, it's like I am in opposition today, and then I start seeing things like. Is
this not the problem as well with the politics of the day, where both political parties, you're always finding means and ways to find convenient means to escape the ambits of the law, and so
the point is that
you disagree with the judiciary when you're in opposition.
Followed by the actions of their government, makes it legitimate to raise some of these questions. And you see, some of these things is not necessarily no. You see, that's what I'm saying. That the conversation, the conversation is not a conversation of the process that was. That is why I am referring to pre-government, when they came into before government. So they said, you see, that's what I'm saying. This raises some of these legitimate concerns. But back to the conversation, respectfully. You see, my brother made a point. He says, "Oh, we had 8 years to prosecute some of these cases. Why didn't we do that?" I am not a lawyer, but in law, legal cases do not have a time limit. If I am right, we don't have an expiry date for crime. We don't have an expiry limit for legal cases. And you see, more importantly, even when the Estiwa government prosecuted Sedinam Tamakulu, what has happened in Ghana today? So you see, when you say some of these things like, "Oh, why didn't you jail the NDC?" and today we are expediting cases. You see, when you look at the GBA's concerns. I made it clear here, and I think the clarifications that Kay was trying to give were concessions that we have made here, okay? And the concessions are that, yes, we know that legal vacations are not a break from justice, and I made that point clearly. But I stress on the fact that, and especially when you refer to the GBA release, it was about, you see, our society is not ruled by just laws. No. When you go to parliament, I'm coming. No. You see,
I want us to make progress. I want him to finish so that I can get.
Even when you go to parliament,
then I can switch.
Beyond the standing orders, there are conventions that govern parliament. You get that? So these are the conventions that even the GBA is raising in this case. That yes, we are not saying that a legal vacation necessarily means that all trials must end.
But the examples are provided. Examples under CJ Tokonu, under Georgina Wood as well, where cases were being heard during the vacation. So it is not entirely new.
Yes, you see.
So it's not new, and so you agree that if it's not new, then where lies the basis for the concern? Is one of the questions being asked.
The point is that let's even bring it to like a layman's language. So. When the CJ did it then, there were backlashes. When the CJ did it then, there were other voices of conscience that spoke against it. So why is it being supported today? This is just an objective question every Ghanaian must ask him or herself. No, this is very objective. Because Eric.
I don't recall there being criticism at the time.
I read write-ups at the time. So my point is that if those write-ups at the time condemning it, suddenly
who wrote those write-ups?
You see, I may not necessarily be able to sit here and recall names, but the point is
if you can't recall names, then don't cite it.
You let me move on. when he comes in, I can pull up these evidences for you. But you see, let me land on the ruling again from the judge, especially when he says that, you know what, I'm giving you this ultimatum to get this legal representation and all that. Yes. I believe that is problematic.
No, how is it problematic? I want you to explain. I want you to explain why it's problematic.
Legally, even if he decides to use a new lawyer, he needs adequate time to actually abreast himself with the issues at hand. He need adequate time to acquaint himself. So, legally.
No, Patrice, please allow him.
These are issues of fact. These are not issues of sentiments or anything. And you see, when I even raised this point earlier, Eric, you agreed to the fact, even in the event that Atacha is not coming back and Edubuain has to get a new representation, you don't say that he should study the case within this stipulated time, come to court on 17th and argue out his cases. You don't say that. So even that ruling alone in itself is problematic, because even legally, lawyers should be allowed that ample time, that adequate facilities to actually prepare their defense. They actually need to be able to acquaint themselves. So even moving away from the fact that this trial is going on, the CJ has issued the warrant and all that, I believe that even the stipulated time periods for the Edubuahin case, especially in view of the current agenda, is something that is not fair. Because like I said earlier, and I'm reiterating again, what will even happen if, let's say, the case goes to October? But even if not, in the light of everything that is happening, in the unlikely events that he's prosecuted, what do you think is going to inform? You see, and you see, this is very important, because the judiciary, okay, it doesn't matter your political class, your level, your status, the judiciary is what we have all come to believe.
It's a final arbiter.
Gives that sort of fairness. So when people actually begin to have problems, when people actually begin to have doubt concerning this judiciary, then what sort of society are we building? And it's when you sit on radio and talk about some of these things, people think that, it's just an MPP problem. But it is not just about an MPP problem. This is about the Ghana we are building.
The last thing I'm going to ask, then I'll give a few minutes as well, so that we can talk about the gold board investigation.
All right, that's fine.
The judges who are sitting on this on these cases are not taking a vacation.
Yes.
If your argument is that they do not hear their substantive cases along with other cases which will come from other courts, if that were taken, it will mean that when the legal vacation ends, that is when their vacation also starts.
Yes.
It will also mean that the case will not be heard in the October you are mentioning, because then those judges will go on their vacation. Yes. And the cases will not be heard in the October as well. So in the likeliest of events, and if these hypotheses are anything to go by, it will suggest that the next possible date for hearing these cases will be January of next year.
Yes, but I believe that even if they have to go on their vacation in October, I do not think that we can't have other judges overseeing these
other
cases.
Judges cannot hear substantive matters in their cases, but because they are the lords of those cases.
But the point is that even in the event they have to go on vacation in October, it means by December they are returning, because it's a 2 months vacation.
No, but
what stops the prosecution from continuing then?
No, so the argument is that then there won't be the space and the room to have heard the cases even during the legal vacation and outside of the legal vacation. It's an argument that is being made.
I want to point out to you.
Right? No, I want.
But the point is that.
No, I want you to answer that. Then we can talk about the gold board investigation, which is being demanded.
I think when you listen, you see, I am not when you listen to the lawyer, that is Atachia. I don't think that is a problem. That is something they actually have a problem with. I hope you get it. Because the point is that even looking at the progression of the case, but what even shows that if they should come back to the case, let's say in December, the prosecution cannot continue, the case hearing cannot continue, they can still go back to the case hearing. So
the delay will not be a problem.
But what exactly is the rush? That is the question. Right. What exactly is the rush?
I think that's a fair point.
Yes.
Ebo, finish up for me on this. Yes, I want Ebo to.
I know there's a misnomer I want to correct.
What's the misnomer?
This misnomer that when a lawyer comes in, they must be given ample time and so on and so forth. No, it is not factual. In Ghana, that is not so. When a new lawyer takes over a new case, what you can do is to request an adjournment. When that is given you, then fine. But the judge can say, no, I am not. because you just have to be fully seized of the case that you are going to run.
Fair.
So you are not.
It's not an automatic entitlement. Fair point.
Don't say that.
Ebo, come in for me so that.
In this matter, I am on the side of the state. And so speedy trials are what we need. We need to prosecute people speedily to get, either we get our money or they go to Nsawam or they go home.
3FM
I don't believe in delay
92.7.
tactics. And I don't think Ghanaians have a problem with the judiciary. At this stage, it's the MPP that seems to have a problem with the judiciary. And so I want to reiterate that for what the judge has done, I salute the judge. We need more of his kind. One of the things that have made this country poor and poorer is corruption. And so when you are handling cases that involve corruption, we need to act speedily on those cases. We don't have to allow politicians and their lawyers to manipulate the court just to delay the cases so that in the most unlikely event that their political party come to power, then maybe they will be freed and all that. And let me also react to this issue of Sedna. You see, when you make a statement that Sedna was sentenced under the previous government, and look at what has happened with this government. Sedna was not jailed by the Akufo-Addo government. Sedna was jailed by the courts. She took the matter to court for an appeal, and the courts saw merit in her appeal. And the court it was the court that let Sedna, or gave Sedna the kind of the pronouncement or the judgment she had. It is not the government.
Right.
You see, as much as possible, let's protect the judiciary. If politicians would always have a problem with the judiciary because their members are involved or their members are before the court, it's going to be a problematic situation for this country, because when ordinary Ghanaians go to court, nobody speaks for them. They face the law as it is. But when a politician goes to court, then it becomes a different story, as if the politician is a different human being or a special human being. Let's all of us apply to ourselves the principle of equality before the law and the supremacy of the law, so that when you go to court and sentence is given, it is the court. It is not the government. It is the court that handed down the sentence and not the government. I think if we do that, people will begin to have confidence and trust in our judicial system.
In the judiciary. Well, 29 minutes to the top of the hour. Let me read this message. I think it doesn't come with a name. Krampa Benneth, right? He sends this one, says that NPP, this kind of strategy that you use in court to delay cases will not help you and it won't help Ghana. Is it the first time an AG or a CJ is telling the court to sit during legal vacation? You should stop behaving like this. We have a country to build. Stop that. We're going to switch to another lane and discuss another subject. But Sam Jerome is a director of public affairs at Cocoa Board. Has joined us in studio as well. Sam, I trust that all is well with you.
By grace, we are so Jerome.
Would you want to take a minute on a bite on this legal vacation before we proceed?
No.
Or you you defer to
I'm
the
not
others?
interested in that for now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The minority is demanding investigations into the activities of Gold Board. Yesterday, the chair of the Public Accounts Committee, Abna Osei-Asare, made the demand. It's been backed by the entire caucus. They are asking that the president steps in to intervene, amongst other things. But I'm going to start with you on this one. This one I'm going to do 5 minutes so that we can try and make some progress, and then I can get quick thoughts as well in relation to the national security shake-up. Is that justification in demanding a presidential probe into the activities of Gold Board by the minority?
Okay.
Thank you.
Ebu, I'm starting with Ebu.
Okay.
You see, Gold Board issues. I from where I sit, I understand why the Gold Board has become a target for MPP to always try to find fault or to bastardize a Gold Board and the man occupying the office. It is to be expected, if you look at what Gold Board is doing, I mean, in terms of the office's contribution to Ghana's economic stability, and the fact that the gentleman occupying the office, Sami Jemfi, is doing, for me, he's doing a fantastic job. So far, so good. And the economy is stabilizing. What would be the basis for MPP to campaign on the economy in the next election? If this economy continues to stabilize, what would be their basis? What would be their argument in terms of the economy? So Gold Board has become their nemesis, honestly speaking. It's like a Gold Board gives them nightmares. So any least thing that they want to attack Gold Board. If Abena really has a case, I mean, if she has evidence that something untoward financially has been done at the Gold Board, Abena should not be organizing a press conference or speaking to the press. She should gather her evidence and go to these investigative agencies and present it, that this is what I've seen to be a problem with the Gold Board. So investigate Gold Board. You don't organize press conferences and ask the government to investigate Gold Board when you have not provided any evidence, anything to suggest that there's something untoward happening. If you make reference to the fact that, according to the IMF, you have made some losses, of course, when Gold Board is the way they are operating, they are expected to be making some losses, because you can't stabilize this economy the way we've done it at no cost. You have to stabilize at a cost. But the question is, what is the, if you weigh the two, what would be where would the scale tilt towards? The scale would tilt towards the fact that through Gold Board's activity, you've been able to rake in enough forex to stabilize this economy, and also to as it were, also make, sanitize the gold sector, the activities of the gold sector. So for me, I really understand why MPP is so much concerned about Gold Board, but I don't think so far they've provided any serious argument or evidence, to support the kind of claim or the kind of call they are making on the president to constitute investigation into the activities. I really don't get it. As I said, Abena should come out with something very cogent. I mean, just to call on the president is not enough. And let me say this: Sami Jemfi has even thrown the challenge. That is one thing I was really marveled that he could do that. He said he's thrown the challenge to the MPs in Parliament. He said, "You have so many committees in Parliament that can invite me to sit one-on-one with me. I'll open the books, and I would want even live coverage, that Ghanaians know what is in the books." He has nothing to hide from the way he's speaking. That's what I'm saying, that you see, if you can, it's like you give a dog a bad name and you hang it. And that is what they are doing. Because the Gold Board is the game changer. I believe, you see, NDC, I'm told in their 2020 manifesto, they had a Gold Board, this concept in their 2020 manifesto. And they don't work. But the MPP should have been smarter. Because this is a game changer for every economy. An economy that depends on forex because of the fact that our economy is import, dominated or import driven. And the most serious problem that can distort the equilibrium of your economy is the forex. And this thing was there. You could have done it to stabilize the economy to this extent. And they didn't do it. And somebody has come and it's working for them, for the country. Why do you begin to throw stones? When you were kids, let me give you, when you were kids, anytime you saw us throwing stones, we are under a mango tree trying to pluck a mango. The only thing is that we don't throw stones at the mangoes that are not ripe. We
focus on ripe mangoes.
The ripe mangoes. And so Gold Board is the ripe mango in this economy, and that is why it has become the target of the opposition. But it is to be
fair enough. Let me come to Godfred Nanaboachi with the NPP as to this demand for an investigations into the activity of Gold Board. The suggestion is that there are lots of parliamentary committees that should be able to deal with this and deal with this thoroughly. You haven't done that in Parliament, but you're asking the president to investigate. Parliament can haul any CEO under the new standing orders before it to answer questions, and they can swear an oath and answer those questions. So should the legislative arm, which is supposed to be policing the executive, not be doing that instead of asking the executive to investigate itself?
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. You see, I have always said that when you are subjected to public office, accountability is a must, and it is prime on it, because at that point it is my money, it is your money, it is my seniors here, their money that we've put together and we've given to you. So it is very important that you have that sort of accountability. But let me clarify something before I move on to the substantive matter. You see, it is never true that it is out of some sort of bitterness or envy or anything like people want to create, or I don't even know the sort of perception they want
bitterness
to create.
From where?
It's Sami Jamfi from a news card I saw. He said Afenyo Markins is bitter. I've seen
I think his argument was that you're bitter because you think he was the reason you went to opposition.
Exactly, and I'm trying to say that, you see, when I actually give the breakdown, you understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. It is not out of any of these things. And very importantly, when someone asks that, they are in parliament, why are they not using parliament? Eric, I have screenshots here and I can share to you so you can project them. And it's been captured by Graphic Online and other top media stations since 2025, very importantly. The Honorable Kojo Oponkroma, ever since these gold board issues started, consistently said one thing: Sami Jamfi should come to Parliament. So you remember that when Sami Jamfi was challenging Kojo Oponkroma for a debate, Honorable Kojo Oponkroma said one thing. He said, this is not an issue that we sit on radio and we discuss. This is not an issue that we sit on TV and discuss. If you think your records are accurate, come to Parliament and defend yourself. And this is public knowledge. It is also public knowledge that the majority in Parliament has, as a matter of fact, consistently tried to block an interrogation of Gold Board. And this again was captured by Graphic Online. So you see, these things that Honorable Abino is saying today, it's not like it is new that they haven't tried, because it is captured on public record since 2025, where the majority has tried to resist an interrogation of Gold Board on the floors. But now let's move to the substantive issue. The minority is demanding an investigation. What is the justification? Eric, not long ago, the IMF brought their report, which I believe we all saw. In their report, they captured that the domestic gold purchase program, which is being run by the BOG and the Gold Board, which from, I think, next month, the BOG is out. Now
I think they are out now,
yes,
even
yes.
as we speak.
Yeah, I think that was from July.
Yes,
thank you.
The government has taken over.
They've taken over. The IMF reported, and this is also public knowledge, that the Gold Board made losses of up to $1.7 billion. $1.7 billion. But Eric, in the BOG 2025 financial statement, BOG recorded losses of $240 million. And all these documents I'm talking about, they are public documents. It's not. You
said the BOG
reported $240 million losses with relation to the domestic gold purchase program.
No, if you go into the BOG report,
when their 2025 financial report,
the estimated losses was 22 billion.
Yes,
there was a part of that cost which was absorbed by government, and then the BOG sold off. You recall the debate as to selling of gold, and then they sold some tons of gold, and there was profit from there which offset some of the losses.
Exactly.
But so the report actually captured the proper loss and provided a bit more in terms of details.
So after everything you are saying, aside the offsetting and all that, the conclusion was that the losses were $240 million. I think that is...
The conclusion was that it was 22 billion cedis in terms of losses.
But when you take off the offsetting, so if you could remember, those times Honorable Kojo Oponkroma consistently raised these issues, that the 214 being captured is not actually accurate. Because some of the reserves, which were there about the 18 tons of gold reserves, had been sold to offset some of these things. It was captured as though some of these losses had been offsetted. But in reality, these losses were around this region, which is about 1.7 billion. But Eric, let's stick to the IMF figure of 1.7 billion. This equates to 22 billion old Ghana cedis,
which was captured in the report.
Exactly. Let's even stick to that. Which also equates to 1.5% of GDP. And you see, the problem with these losses is that there are no means of recovering these losses. That is the problem with these losses. But then again, we all know that you remember the gold for oil under Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia when he introduced it back then. Eric, cumulatively, from 2022 to 2024, the Bank of Ghana and the government recorded losses of just 7 billion in 3 years. 7 billion cedis in 3 years. But it is also important for our listeners to note that it was within this period that we built our gold reserves from 8 tons to 30.4 tons that we handed over to the NDC. It is also important to note that it was within this period that we built our international reserves of about $8 billion. It is very important to note. But Eric, even within these periods, we recorded a cumulative loss within 3 years of just 7 billion Ghana cedis. Now, the question we need to be asking ourselves as Ghanaians is that when you are recording 22 billion cedis in a single year under the gold board, then what are we doing to ourselves as a country? Then the justification they give is that dollar is down, inflation is at 3%. But then you ask yourself, how is that translating into the ordinary lives of the ordinary Ghanaians? These are right questions we need to ask. You see, you said the dollar is down, but how is that translated? But you see, I just want to.
No,
okay.
As you are making, I think what you say is fair.
Okay.
But it must come back to the central question: what must be investigated when you ask for an investigation? Which is what the
Now, how did the loss come?
So let me.
you understand.
So what must be investigated? Now, when you look at the IMF report on the 22 billion cedis loss,
which is $1.7 billion loss.
They capture things like fees paid to gold board. We believe that we need proper investigation into some of these things.
Right.
They also capture things like discount applied to gold sold to the off-takers.
But that's an operating model which has been made public.
Yes, and I'm saying that under this same operating model, Eric, in 3 years, there were losses of 7 billion cumulatively. Today, if you are having losses of 22 billion in 1 year, let's even assume, without admitting, okay, that we average 20 billion in the course of the next 4 years. How much is that?
Fair.
So the point is that when you have
I
just want to land with
so
this.
just land with that.
Meanwhile, when even people who sell small scale goods are not making some of these losses. Again, we also believe that we need to investigate these things because of these losses, the negative equity of BOG, as I'm speaking today, rose from 58 billion to 94 billion. These are real issues that need real investigations. But you see, more worryingly is the fact that, Eric, let me conclude on this. 2 working days to the end of 2025, Gold Board was giving 4.5 billion. So when you see their reports where they say, as at the end of 2025, we made a profit of 909 million Ghana cedis, it is because 2 working days to close of the year 2025, Gold Board was giving this money.
Given by who?
By the government, and these were captured even when you said the media reports by the Ministry of Finance, you see all these things captured there.
Right.
Meanwhile, no ministry in this country, not even the education, the health, or any ministry,
But that 4.5 billion was the allocation which was provided to the gold board when it was being set up. So that's not money that has gone anywhere.
Yes, and I'm saying that some of these transactions.
I mean, that was a money to set up the institution.
To end of 2025. So
fair enough.
We need proper investigation, we need transparency, we need accountability. But more importantly, is when we refer to the Gold Board Act, they are supposed to even make this intermittent reports.
They provide reports, though. They provide reports.
But
Jerome, let me have you come in.
I believe that all these are
Jerome, let me let
issues
you
that
come
we
in.
really need to look at.
Fair enough, Jerome.
Eric,
your response to the demand for an investigation.
well, the Cocoa Man is in to speak to issues about gold. You know, we are brothers because the Cocoa Board and Gold Board, we all have board. So we are siblings. And then personally, I have known my boss, Sambi Jemfi, for a number of years now. So I can speak to his person as an individual. You see, some of these things are very important because the credibility of the institution cannot be separated from who heads that institution. So if the person is credible, then you can. If the person is credible, then you can speak to the credibility of the institution as well. And I can say that lawyer Sambi Jemfi, as an individual or as a public officer, so to speak now, has distinguished himself, and he has worked to the admiration of all Ghanaians. So if somebody elsewhere has a problem, that is why he says that some of the issues that are personal can be borne out of his role as the National Communications Officer of the NDC during the election 2024. Look, beyond that, I do not, and I will not
3FM
back
92.7.
the request being made by the Honorable Abna Osei Asare, not because there is something to cover up, but it is absolutely not needed. I say so because the person involved has publicly thrown a challenge that if you need me, I am not running away. I'm available. I am the man put in charge. So if there is anybody who can appropriately respond to the issues that you are raising, then it is what? It's me. So it is either you invite me to speak in Parliament, speak on oath, or you meet me anywhere to debate what? To debate the issues. Nobody can underrate how critical the Good Board is to the economy of this republic. But you see, what I find quite surprising this morning is the attempt by the minority or the MPP to make this general impression or proposition that whatever that is contained in the report of the IMF is a final report, or put all other matters to rest. Meaning that whatever that is contained in there cannot be subject to what? Interrogation or what? Or questioning. That is not it. A challenge has been thrown by lawyer Sami Jenfi in respect of the report authored by what? Authored by IMF. And he has challenged it with facts and what? With facts and figures. Look, we are talking about losses. It is important for us to define or even know what losses are. So when you have your books, when you have your accounting books, you can have your profit and loss account. So when you're doing your profit and loss account, so by the MPP reiterating whatever that has been stated in the IMF report, is telling us that at no point has the Gold Board made a profit. And in fact, apart from the Gold Board reporting that it has brought in over 10 billion of forex to cushion our currency, it has also made a surplus of over 5.5 billion. And that has not been contested by any individual born of a woman. That has not been contested by anybody. That has never been contested by anyone. He did not even speak to profit. He said surplus. Who has contested same? Nobody. Also, another important thing that I want to avert your mind to is that he says Gold Board has cushioned the forex or our currency with over 10 billion, all right, of hard currency, i.e. the dollar. Let's discuss the significance of what this has done. Because when the NDC, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama assumed the reins of leadership, we had the cedi trading at 16 cedis or so against the dollar. What did the adverse effect that it had on the importer was that the importer had to spend much money before an import could be made. This affected the profit levels or margins of what? Of the exporter. And again, it's further hampered against the quality of life of the ordinary Ghanaian. Because if you are out there to buy something, due to galloping inflation that we were experiencing those days, you are unable to even make predictions and your income levels have been affected. And this is the situation that we were plunged into as Ghanaians, further pushing Ghanaians into the poverty what? Into the poverty bracket. So if today we have the emergence or the establishment of Gold Board, which has dealt squarely with this problem that was bequeathed to the Mahama administration, why do people sit somewhere and sing songs, pushing it to be rhythmic in the ears of people, whereas they have no concrete evidence? They're only resorting or engaging in hypothesis that, oh, this has occurred. Oh, the IMF has reported this. What is the real issue? So they should clearly define the issues for us to know where they are even coming from. But as it stands now, what I know as a fact is that Gold Board made a surplus of 5.5 billion. Say this. Gold Board brought in more than 10 billion to support what? To support the economy. Are these facts or not? So if these are facts, let's discuss these important or pertinent issues than to engage in some frivolous issues that has no merit or no bearing on the economy. If you want the fine lawyer in Parliament, he says he's available. So why are you now having TikTok live and then Facebook live?
That's how you describe it.
Or YouTube live. I mean, you're engaging in TikTok live, YouTube live, and is that what you have voted for? Don't you remember that? The Honorable Sami JV has appeared before Public Accounts Committee before? You know that? Or you don't know? Gold Board has appeared before Public Accounts Committee before. Honorable Abna Sare's committee.
3FM.
He has appeared.
She's chair of that committee.
Yes. She has appeared before. So what is the issue? What's the problem? So when he appeared, what was the findings? What was the conclusion?
Well, I think the argument can be at the time there wasn't a loss.
Oh, how? We are talking about we are vetting the financial report of 2025. So if the person has appeared before you 2026, you are telling me that it's lost on you and it is now resurfacing, or I mean, what do you seek to achieve? What do you seek to achieve? The person has sat before you before in Parliament. He sat before your committee. So all the scrutiny, all the questions that you wanted to have asked, I'm sure she asked, and she was giving the needed answer that merited the question that she asked. So where from this ranting and raving and then this TikTok thing?
Yeah,
I mean,
let me
Just
say,
quick comments.
let me say this. IMF, let me tell you, yes, we'll go to them when you are in trouble. IMF will become more or less useless if nobody goes to the IMF for loan. The way we are managing this economy, if you continue, there's no way you're going to go back to the IMF. They themselves, they will not be happy with the way things are being handled in this country. And so let's stick to what we are doing. Gold Board, let's Gold Board keep bringing in the forex to shore up this economy. It's very important. Very, very important we do. And let me say, gold for oil. What was the benefit of gold for oil? And let's look at the cost-benefit analysis.
Abu, you're introducing.
Because he brought it up. He brought it up because before the gold for
he mentioned it, but I'm saying that if you resurrect
gold for reserve is different from gold for. Gold for reserve is.
what am I close?
We are out of here at 10.
Gold for reserve is different from.
I'm not sure I'll be given an extension.
Gold for oil. Buying gold for reserve was different from gold for oil.
Yeah, those are completely
yes. And I'm saying gold
different
for
policies.
oil. What was the benefit? We were told before the gold for oil. They said it was a breakthrough. I mean, Baumia is genius. He's brought something that is going to solve our problem.
I remember.
Gold for oil.
I remember. And
they said two things. They said one, it was going to reduce the price of fuel at the pump.
Yes.
It was also going to bring down and stabilize the exchange rate. Yes. Now, after the gold for oil, the prices of fuel at the pump went up. Our foreign exchange also depreciated seriously. So that's what I'm asking. What was the benefit?
What was the benefit?
Now, if you look at what Gold Board is doing, the contribution of Gold Board to the economy, in juxtaposition with gold for oil, you can't but to admire what is being done.
Okay, so Eric, I'll let him finish. But I mean, a quick one. Do you know that once upon a time, when governments come, they are in competition as to who even ensured a lesser depreciation of our currency. But today, we have even moved from that competition. Yeah. Somebody, a certain president, through the contribution of Gold Board, has held our city to even appreciate from the 16 point something that we inherited to now within the region of 11 cities and all that, ensuring businesses are being sustained, businesses are being grown, people are getting jobs to do and all that. And you are here, you are done playing, you engage, you go on TikTok live and then you do you do all these things.
What his interview, even he praised Dr. Baumia's good for oil and good for reserves. And I would
go for reserves. No, go for reserves. He did. No, not good for oil.
Oh, yes, but
not good for oil. Don't distort information.
Basically, they were under the same.
No. There are two different policies.
Eric, the gold for reserves is what built our gold reserves from 8 tons to 30.4 tons under the MPP. What is our gold reserves today? It is a gold for reserves that built international reserves.
Do you know our forex reserve?
I'm coming. Our forex reserve was 8 billion under the SPA government.
No, do you know?
Today it's around 10 billion.
So why don't you give credit?
No. The point is that we built it to somewhere. You are continuing.
But it also came to
me. You see, the 18 tons they liquidated in 2025 to cushion the losses of the BOG.
Yeah, it was strategic decision.
These were gold reserves that had been accumulated under the MPP. So if you ask what the benefits were, these were the benefits.
I'm talking about gold for oil.
More importantly.
No, let's make the distinction.
Gold for reserves, any of them. So more importantly, I believe that the IMF has a credibility, but let me clarify something. Dollar was not 16 cedis when we handed over power. Dollar was 14.7, interbank rate 7 January 2025. You can check.
What about you?
Most importantly, you have done $10 billion intervention. The loss means that we gave you 11.7 billion, go and trade in gold, and you brought back 10 billion. In layman's language, in simple logic, that is what the losses mean. So I don't understand why they make you look like you were the one who cooked up these $10 billion. No, these were monies the BOG had given to you to trade. And this is how much you came back with. You get it? In conclusion, when you take out these 22 billion cedis losses, the health minister says he needs 6 billion cedis to clear the backlog of nurses.
Don't follow the speaking note. If you follow the speaking note too much, you sound.
No. The Minister of Health says he needs 6 billion to employ nurses, but you have made these 22 billion losses. So we believe that these are issues that really call for critical investigation.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Jerome was in studio with me, as well as Godfred Anabuachi and Ebu Bachman. Sam Jerome is the Director of Public Affairs. I'm going to do these 2 quick birthdays, right? I think about 3 of